Hey, Shar.
Hey, Reg.
And welcome everyone back to Underqualified,
A podcast where we talk about shit we're not qualified to talk about.
And welcome to the next episode in our mini-series that we're calling There Are Strangers in Our Studio. And as always, they're not actually strangers. They are our friends. You want to introduce this one?
Yeah, sure. Today we have a good friend of ours, Lindsey Mingrino.
Welcome,
Hello.
Lindsey.
A woman in STEM.
Women in STEM. Let's hear it for women in STEM.
Yeah.
Thank you
So
for
Lindsey's here
having me.
today
Of
again
course,
to
thank you
talk
for coming
about
on.
her senior project, and she's a producer,
Yes.
songwriter, all that. You sing too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You do it all.
Yeah. So yeah, we just want to talk about what you've been up to for senior project.
Yeah, introduce yourself a little bit. Talk about what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm Lindsey, and I'm a senior in music industry. My project is called The Power of Production, which is like the overarching title, but that's not the title of my EP. It's like yet to be announced. But anyway, that's kind of like the whole big idea. And it kind of stemmed from the fact that before coming to Drexel, I just like wrote songs and I could sing and perform and whatever, but I didn't know how to produce. And that's why I kind of took like the recording arts concentration, because I really wanted to learn all that. And basically throughout like my 4 years here, I really kind of changed like the style and genre of my music through production, and that kind of like opened up so much room for creativity for me. So that's kind of what I based my senior project off of, just the fact that like my songs start out so acoustic when I write them, and then when I produce them, they're kind of like electronic and like experimental, and I kind of just like got so much more creative when I learned how to produce.
Would you say like your style before was very like acoustic before you got to Drexel?
Yeah, it was very singer-songwriter. Like my biggest influence was Taylor Swift, obviously.
Yes,
It's a
as
lot
always.
of people's big influences, but it's kind of like emulating more of her earlier stuff, where it was just like songwriting, like the lyrics really matter.
Yeah.
And it was just like me and my guitar all the time. But now it's like very different.
Yeah, so what's your process with like making music now? Like, do you start with like a beat or like a chord progression or a melody? Like, or does it change?
Yeah, it's kind of different every time. But usually like when I get an idea for a song, I'll use like my voice memos or like write it in my notes, and then kind of go from there. Like I'll save them for later, and then when it's time to like sit down and I actually have time, I'll either like go into Ableton and like start producing.
Oh, you use
like
Ableton?
with an idea. Yeah,
Okay.
that's my favorite
see?
DAW.
That's why I forgot to ask that. Who else was using that? Richard, right? No, I was asking people what DAW they use. Good, you brought that up. It was V. There we go.
Yeah, Ableton is superior according to me.
Yeah.
But
Everyone thinks that.
Yeah.
Of their favorite DAW.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody has their favorite. So, but yeah, it'll either be like I'll sit down and produce something, but more often than not, it's like I sit down with my guitar and then I just kind of like figure out a chord progression that sounds like the idea that I have, and then kind of go from there. And then once I like fully write the song with my guitar and like all the lyrics are done, then I'll like sit down and produce it out. And kind of like, it's kind of fun to see like the difference between those two things.
Yeah, I was looking at some of your TikToks, which is why I thought of bringing you on for the mini series.
Yeah.
And it just even like when you like show like your days and stuff, I'm like, wow, that looks so like interesting. Like not that I could ever do it, but it, like it just looks like really fun. Like how'd you learn? You learned producing just like through Drexel, or did you like do anything else?
Yeah, no, it was definitely all through Drexel, and that was kind of like a big reason why I wanted to like focus my project on that, because I literally got here like freshman year, and it sounded like everyone knew what they were talking about, like
Oh my God,
around me. I feel like everybody had that same experience, but none of us like talked about it at the beginning. But I literally felt like I had no idea what I was doing. And I like almost switched to business like sophomore year, because it was getting like so technical, and I was just like, this is so much information. Everybody knows what they're doing. But then I thought about it for a while, and then I sat down in like one of our classes, and I was like, there are like 3 women here. Like I'm gonna do it. Let me do it for the girls.
Yes.
As
And
you
it's
should.
like, it was something that I really wanted to learn. So I was like, why am I gonna give up on that? Like I don't give up often. So I was like, let me just power through. But yeah, like I learned it through Drexel. I didn't take anything outside of it, but you know, I will say I'm still not like the best producer on the planet.
Don't start, because I remember songwriting like when we were in the middle of COVID, and Matthew, you were in that class too, right? And we like talked a bit like fresh like welcome week and stuff, but we weren't like talking that much like throughout. And then I just remember like I've never heard anything that you like, because you never put anything out, right? So I was like not expecting like anything crazy, but then I remember you played something. I was like, "Is that Lindsey?" Like I was like, "Oh my god!" I think our group chat was going off too. Like our friend group was like, "Oh my god, she's so good!" And it was just like, I was just like, "I think you're a great producer. Don't put yourself down."
Yeah, I feel like I started like very behind, but like now I'm feeling better about it, especially like working on my senior project all this time.
You go, girl boss.
But, thank you. Not on the girl boss. But yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So what's a favorite thing you've done with your senior project so far?
Well, actually one of the songs that it's like the closest to being done. It's actually being like mixed right now. That's kind of like my favorite thing that I'm working on. It's called Differently. I played it like in class in one of our like production classes a couple weeks ago, and everybody really liked it, so it was kind of nice to see. But it's kind of like it's got some cool like vocal chops and panning, which is kind of it's like my favorite thing to do, to like pan everything around and like make you really like listen. And I like ear candy a lot. I'm very excited about that one.
So this EP, do you want to just, I don't know, you said the name isn't going to be announced quite yet, but do you want to, I don't know, give us the bones of it, how many tracks there are? Yeah. Is there like an overarching theme? I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Talk us through it. The name isn't announced, but I have a name for it. But there's 5 songs on it, and they were all written, I think, like they were all written like in my 4 years of college, but some of them are from like 3 years ago or like 2 years ago, and then some of them are from like the fall term. But basically some of them are like just kind of stories or ideas that I had, and then some of them are like personal experiences. So it's kind of like a culmination of my college experience and kind of like navigating all of that and all the people that I've met. So
it's perfect for a senior project to like wrap everything up.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely
tie everything with a nice little bow.
Yeah, it's tied up with a bow. Yeah.
So what has it been like doing everything like by yourself, basically, right?
Yeah, that was like a big challenge for me and like a big obstacle to get over, because there are so many things that you don't realize that you need to do to like put out an EP or like a project. So I'm still kind of like dealing with all of that, but like writing and producing like isn't as tough for me because I've been doing it for a while, but really like honing in on like the mix and like not making everything too complicated, because that's something that I do a lot. Like my advisor Cyril, like he always has to tell me, he's like, keep it simple. Like he's like, you have a lot of good ideas, but you need to kind of like hone it in and, you know, pull it back a bit, because
like a less is more.
Yeah, kind of exactly. That's like what he's been saying to me. So I've kind of had to deal with that, especially being like one of the only people listening to it over and over. It's kind of hard to like, you know, make changes or like hear things that other people would hear. So it's good that he's like my second ear on it. And then like the mixing engineer is like a third ear on it. So doing everything by myself is like a lot. And it's kind of why I've been like I've fallen behind on the timeline a bit. But I mean, I'm trying to get it out on time. But that's kind of like a big challenge.
Do you go to the studio a lot?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been recently because I'm kind of just more in like the fine tweaking stages. But yeah, I went a couple times with.
And you were by yourself?
Well, okay.
Good.
Sometimes, sometimes I was by myself, and I would like, I don't know, I don't think I put it in a TikTok yet, but it's coming. I literally like set up my computer outside of the window with my own interface.
Oh my goodness.
And then like ran the wire through to like the nice mic in the studio, and I used like a Bluetooth keyboard and a Bluetooth mouse, and I would like, I looked through the window and would like,
oh my god.
Just because if I did it, I used to like record my demos like in my room, and there would be so much room noise, and it like I couldn't sing as loud because people would hear me, whatever. So like I decided to like take all my stuff to the studio and literally like do it through the window in Studio One, and it was actually pretty interesting, but it worked really well because I could just like, I'm used to like recording by myself and like punching in where I need to punch in, and then I like didn't have to tell an engineer like what exactly to do. But other times I did go with Cole Guerin. He's been just helping me like record the vocals and stuff, and then I've been working on his project a little bit. I think I'm on like 2 songs.
Ooh,
a little feature.
Yeah, a little feature.
Maybe I did know
at
that.
least one. I don't know if he's putting out the second, but yeah, so it's kind of been like sometimes I get a little help, and then sometimes I'm just like by myself, like grinding it out.
Would you say that was the hardest part, just like doing a lot of the things by yourself, or is that like something that you like, that you prefer, or?
That's a good question, because I do like doing things by myself because I know what I want. I know what I want it to sound like, and like sometimes explaining things is like more work than just doing it yourself.
Okay, me.
But, you know, like, I mean, not to like be that person, but
no,
like,
that is us. We're both like, I feel like tragically independent. No, I was gonna say like tragically independent people.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Like,
no, not to get deep, but ever since I got sick, I've been taking help. But like I was like crazy, like it was
super
tragic.
independent.
Yeah.
I'm independent to a fault, that's for sure.
yeah, no, exactly. And there are times where I'm like, I just like need someone to help me with this,
right?
Or like, you know, it's not super easy to set up the whole studio like by myself, even though I've like learned all that. But yeah, so that's like where I ask for help. But it is like kind of tough, like asking for help.
Yeah,
because
it's like it's like I want to do it.
Yeah,
I want to be the one to do it. Like, I want that self gratification.
Like now that I'm like come so far, I'm like I want to put this out, like knowing that this was all my work, like this was all like my brain on this, and like just being really proud of it in the end. But yeah, it definitely does come with the challenge of like doing it by myself.
So I was wondering like what your plan is for like releasing it and stuff. Do you have like
do you have a timeline?
Yeah.
So the idea was that I would release it like at the end of the term, like late May, early June, but it's kind of not looking like that's gonna happen because I'm still producing a bit of it, and things are still like in the early mixing stages. So I really I wanted to put it out on the presentation day, like June 3rd. But I don't know if that's going to happen because you have to put it in so early to streaming services.
Right.
And you have to, you know, you have to promote it. And I haven't even begun to like do all that. So it's kind of like a play by ear basis.
Yeah.
You're definitely not the only one who's like kind of falling behind.
It's kind of a theme on this podcast.
It's honestly, it's kind of like an arbitrary date. Like,
no, exactly. I know.
Like at this point, it's like as long as they know that you're putting in work and that you're putting in the effort and stuff, that's all that really matters.
Yeah, like I'll definitely have something to present and like show for it, but I don't know if it's going to be completely like done, release ready.
Yeah, and they don't care. Not that they don't care, but like as long
they
as
they care about the quality as much as you do.
Yeah, exactly. And I was talking to Miles about it, and he was like, you know what, like don't rush. Like if you rush, like it's not gonna be something that you're proud of. Like you really need to take your time with it and make sure that it's like something you really want to put out. Which like it kind of put me in a new perspective. I'm like, yeah, why am I rushing? Like let me take my time.
It's like your actual music. Like it's not like just a school project.
Exactly.
I think we were talking about it with V yesterday too, where it's like he's not gonna have it done by senior project, but to him it's like not just like it's like his actual music that he's putting out,
especially because it's like the first thing I'm gonna put out.
Yeah, so you want it to be good. You want to put in the time.
My family's like, it doesn't need to be perfect, like it's just a project.
No, but you don't understand. It's not just a project.
It's not.
This is my job.
This is the beginning of my career.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean there is so much pressure on it, but I'm trying to like take a step back and be like, you know what, like just focus on the art, like the rest will work itself out.
Exactly.
So
yeah, that's really exciting. And it's just so nice, like, having you as a woman doing it and, like, seeing you do it all by yourself and then making all your TikToks by yourself.
There really aren't any.
I feel like I know
as
some in
many
the younger years,
producers.
but not, like, our year.
Yeah.
I can't even think of someone else.
I'm seeing that now more than ever. Like I feel like the years ahead of us, like, that already graduated, or our year, like, there aren't that many. But, like, now all the
younger,
like,
even juniors, or there's more like female producers. I know there's like
sophomores too.
Women in the classes. Like I'm in some of the classes like with the underclassmen. Because like music theory set me back in the beginning.
We talked about this. We talked about this the other day.
I know. So it set me back, and because they only offer it in the spring. So,
that's stupid.
So like I am with some of the juniors now, and I'm like so happy to see like so many more women are in the class.
That's good.
Yeah, like sometimes I'll show up and it'll only be women in the class for like 5 minutes because everybody else shows up late, and I'm like, go us. Like, we're really doing it.
I feel like on the business side, there's a decent amount of women.
Yeah.
But like I feel like I don't really see that many girls on the rap side.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I feel like it's intimidating. I don't know.
No, it was. Like, freshman, sophomore year.
Yeah. Well, good for you for sticking it out.
Thank you.
I don't know. It's definitely not easy, especially when you feel that pressure of like, I'm the only woman in this room right now.
Yeah.
Do I belong here?
Yeah.
But, like, you definitely do.
I feel like it's like also a pressure, but it's also like, well, fuck them. I'm gonna I'm
Yeah.
here. So
Yeah.
like it's like a respect thing, demanding respect.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
No, exactly.
You deserve to be there as much as everyone else
Yeah.
does.
I'm glad I did it though, because I was like, they may know more about like production and mixing than I do, or like not just like the men, but like literally anybody else like could know more about it. But I feel like I also have like an understanding of like music on its own, and like that could kind of change the game. It doesn't, you know, it's not like a competition. It's more just like everybody brings something different to the table. It doesn't have to be like, you know more than me, or I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I mean, that could be like in any situation. Like I could say something, they don't know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But it's kind of just more like what you do with what you know, I guess.
Yeah.
Wait, so we talked about like kind of, I guess, the challenges with like working on your project and the EP and everything. Has there been something that was like the easiest?
Oh, I guess like writing the songs would be the easiest.
Really?
Just because I didn't have like the pressure of the project on me. Because like some of them were a couple years ago and I didn't know that they would, you know, be on this project. But that kind of is what comes easiest to me. Like when I just sit down like with my guitar and write a song, like the production is like the fun part because you get to like be creative with it. But I feel like the lyrics are like what comes easiest to me because I like thinking of like new ways to say something, or like I like love when someone I think I said this in class, I don't know if you guys were there, but I was like I love when artists can say something better than I can say it. And so like that's like kind of what I try to do.
Yeah, you said that in Tony's class, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Oh my God, that was
guest.
that was what was her name? KJ.
Yeah.
I was like I was honestly
was so
scared for
funny.
you, and I think everyone walked out like, whoa, props to Lindsey for that.
No, that was just like I was so unprepared for that.
Yeah,
She
it was like on the spot. I was like,
know.
I would cry if I was you, but you did
No,
with
literally.
grace.
I was like, what is going on? She's like, do you have a line? I was like, off the top of my head. I don't know. I literally drew a blank and I was like, okay, first thing that comes to my mind. Just
It was
go.
good though. I was like, okay, she got this.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I would have done.
No.
I don't make music, so it wouldn't have mattered, but like
Like,
still.
yeah, no, I appreciate everyone for like helping
Yeah.
me out, cheering me on, because that was quite the moment.
Yeah,
How long
everyone
does
knew
it-
that would have been like,
Yeah.
if anyone was doing it, it would have been terrifying.
Yeah.
So.
How long does it usually take you to write a song? Like, I guess like the lyrics.
It could, honestly, sometimes I like write them in like 20 minutes, and I will literally like when I write them in my notes I'm like written in 20 minutes because I'm like that was so fast, like how did I do that? But other times it takes me like an hour or like an hour and a half, or like sometimes I'll write like a verse and a chorus and then I will literally let it sit for like months and then I'll come back to it and I'll be like, okay, I'm ready to like keep going on this. So it all depends, really. But sometimes I like do it really fast and I'm like, that was crazy.
No, I love asking that question to songwriters because everyone's so different.
So different.
Their answers are very different. Some people are like really struggle with it, but other people can just bang out a song in 20 minutes, like you said.
Yeah. I mean, I've been like doing it for a while just because Taylor Swift really set me off. But like I think since I was like 8 or something, I would be writing songs and I like look back in my journals and I'm like, this is terrible. like my parents said this was good. But yeah, it's kind of funny to see like myself grow or like my songwriting grow.
You're kind of giving me, and this is a big thing. You're kind of giving me like Ariana Grande vibes, how she like writes everything, and like you see her doing her little. She's a Pro Tools girl.
Yeah.
No.
Seeing her little like she's always talking about like vocal chopping and what else, Matthew? That thing where it's like on the same thing as like the other track if it's like 2 vocal tracks at the same time.
Like vocal stacks.
Yeah, no, not that one, but it was like Justin Bieber saying something when they did that song in COVID, and it wasn't the same timing as her, so she had to. I forget.
Oh,
what it was.
timeline.
Yeah, that's what it was. It's like you're giving me like that same her energy, how she with her like music process.
It's a big
stuff.
compliment.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
That's big. I know my girl.
That's nice.
That's my girl. So me and Matthew's girl. Sorry, Matthew's girl before my girl.
But yeah,
but that's
definitely.
Just, like, the process seems crazy.
Yeah, no,
really cool, though.
it's definitely so much information to take in, but I'm glad I had 4 years to kind of learn. And,
No,
yeah, definitely
those
different.
classes for me, nothing. Learned that R in Logic means record, and I
Yeah,
learned that multiple
no,
times.
I would be in those classes and I'd be like, hey, I need some help. And like Moise would come over and he'd be like, oh, so you just have to do this, 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 and this. And he went, okay, you can just hand this in. He just did it for me. And I was like, okay, cool. Because I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And I think they know.
Yeah.
In like the business
It was it was like
classes,
sound
they
recording
don't
for
know.
business.
Yeah.
For business. But like day one, we got there and they started talking about like EQ and compression. I'm like, I have zero experience with any of this. Some people like took classes in high school.
Yeah.
But my high school didn't have that. I was just like, what are they talking about? They started showing like the EQ curve. I'm like, what is it?
I don't know what's happening.
Can you explain? And then everybody would like chime in from the class. I'm like, how do you guys
I will
know all this
say,
stuff?
even though a lot of them dropped out, I know a lot of people from like freshman year that would have, if I was like making music, I would have been like scared by them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could name like 4 off the top of my
Oh,
head.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was me. I mean, but good thing I stuck with it.
No, you stuck
so.
it out, and that's something to be
Yeah.
proud of for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to hear music because even just from
Thank
songwriting, which was 2
Mhm.
years ago, I was already impressed. And
Yeah,
I'm-
definitely things have changed.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
from then.
I'm sure you've grown since then.
Yeah.
So,
How are we on time?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
so
just gonna
do you
ask,
want
yeah.
to, I don't know, tell people where they can find you?
Oh,
Your
yeah.
any of your social medias or
Yeah.
whatever?
So my Instagram is just like my regular personal Instagram. It's Lindsey Mingrino. And
I'll have her
then-
tagged.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
well-
then I'm on TikTok as the same thing, Lindsey Mingrino. And my EP should be coming out very shortly to all streaming services.
Yay.
So yeah,
Very
just under my name.
excited. And we'll put that in the description and
Yes,
whatever.
of course, everything. Well, thank you so much for coming on to our
Thank
podcast. It's been
you.
so
Thank
fun.
you for having me.
Of
Yes.
course.
And thank you to everyone who's been watching and listening so far. And we'll see you in the next one.
See you soon.
Bye.